Konnichiwa. Today we're going to talk about how to turn your mobile device into an immersion machine. Now, as far as watching anime and other Japanese material goes, you can use a mobile device for that, but a personal computer probably has the best facilities for using these materials to full advantage. You will be using a mobile device for your passive audio immersion, but there are no particular problems about that. Where a mobile device really comes into its own is in reading, particularly novels and manga. Now, I've talked about where you can get an almost unlimited supply of free light novels entirely legally in another video. So if you don't know how to go about that, I'll put a link over my head. Along with these light novels, you can get various Japanese e-readers, which will dovetail with your supply of light novels to allow you to read them easily and comfortably, turning your mobile device essentially into an e-reader. So the questions that then arise are, can we use the same kind of facilities that we do on a computer? On a computer, we're used to being able to use things like Yomi-chan to hover over a word and get its reading and definition, and also to send ready-made cards into Anki so that we can pin new words into place and learn kanji as seamlessly as possible. Can we do this on a mobile device? Well, to a large extent, we can. If you're using the Android version of the Firefox browser, you can use Yomi-chan with that, which will give you the ability to get readings and definitions on the fly, and also send them into Anki cards immediately. The problem here is that for many people, reading novels and manga on a browser isn't the most comfortable experience. Also, you may not be online. So if you want to use e-readers, what can you do? Well, if you're using the Kindle reader, that has its own built-in dictionary, and you can download the Japanese version. So that's pretty simple, although it doesn't integrate with Anki. If you're using one of the e-readers that cooperate with shousetsu.com, which is where you can get all these free light novels, what can you do? It doesn't have a built-in dictionary, but there's a good way around the problem, and it's called Popup Japanese Dictionary. Now, you need to get one of the readers that allow you to select text, but you're going to want that anyway. So make sure you have one of the readers that will allow you to select text, and then you install the Popup Japanese Dictionary, and once you've done that, all you have to do is copy a word, that's to say you long press on it to select it, and then hit the copy button, and the definition will pop up. Unfortunately, we can only get English definitions, but at least we can get definitions on the fly without breaking your reading experience. And the good thing about this, as opposed to things like Yomi-chan, is that it's not attached to a browser. Anywhere on your device that you can copy text, you can use Popup Japanese Dictionary. It does not integrate with Anki, so are we back to hand-making Anki cards? Fortunately, no, we're not. We need another application to help us here, and that is Tango Bottle. Tango Bottle is another Japanese to English dictionary. It uses the same database that Jisho and most of the online JE dictionaries use, so you'll get the same definitions. It doesn't integrate with shousetsu readers or browsers or anything else, so you have to copy the word, which you'll have already done if you got the instant definition from Popup Dictionary. You then paste it into Tango Bottle and get the definition, and once you've got the definition, there is an option to send that straight into Anki Droid. So long as you have Anki on your Android device, you can make instant cards. You just select your definition, and on the definition page, you go to the drop-down menu and select the option to send the definition to Anki, and there you are, you've got a card. Tango Bottle also has sample sentences for many of the words, and it will send a sample sentence to your Anki card as well. Unfortunately, you can't select which sample sentence it sends. It'll just send the first one on its list. Sometimes they're useful, sometimes they're not so useful, so that's a bit of a lottery, but at least you do have sample sentences that are valuable some of the time. It also has a pretty robust kanji by radicals tool, so if you're reading a physical book, say, and using the dictionary separately, it's pretty easy to look up unknown kanji if you need to do that. So all around, Tango Bottle is a pretty solid option for Anki integration. Its two weaknesses are that, unlike Yomi-chan, it doesn't do audio for the words, and it can't do Japanese to Japanese definitions. How do we get around this? Well, this is going to be a matter of post-processing, because you can only really do it on your computer. So as far as audio for the words goes, this is pretty simple. You go into your personal computer, Anki, and you have to install Awesome TTS, and I'll give a link for that in the information section below. Now you can do batch processing here, so what you can do is select all your recently imported cards that you did in your last session or couple of sessions of reading, and then go into Awesome TTS, and you can tell it to take the text on any field you choose, create audio, and put that audio into any field you choose. What I recommend is taking the reading field, which will have the hiragana of the word, for the input field and also for the output field. The reason for that is that the text-to-speech occasionally, not very often, but occasionally mispronounces words. It gives the wrong pronunciation of a kanji. If it's working from the hiragana, it won't ever do that, of course. And you put it into the reading field, because that means you've got the reading on the back, and it will be the first field on the back. So if you put any other audio onto the back, like for a Japanese to Japanese definition or for the sample sentence, the reading will come first, which is what you want to happen. Now, for Japanese definitions, if you have one in mind, if you're using one of the tricks that I taught you in my video on phasing in Japanese to Japanese definitions, you can just type that in at the same time and then TTS it so that you can hear the definition. You can go to the Sanseido online dictionary, which generally provides concise definitions, and copy one from there and paste it in, and if you want to, TTS it. Another thing you can do, if you're feeling lucky and a bit lazy, is simply batch process the sentence field on all your new cards. That way, wherever there's a sample sentence, there won't always be one, but there'll be one quite a lot of the time, you'll get audio for that sentence automatically generated for the card. Now, some of the sentences are useful, some of them I don't think are so useful, but this is a quick and easy way to get some audio for all of your cards, which you can use even if you don't have a Japanese definition. If you can listen to the Japanese sentence and get confirmation of the card for that, it's a very quick and easy way to do things. If the sentence is useless to you, you can just delete it at review time. Although you can't actually generate the TTS on your mobile device, you can edit and delete. So if you have a lot of audio sample sentences and you find you don't want them all, you can just get rid of the ones you don't want on the fly. Also, of course, you can look for sample sentences on online databases if you wish to. So the process isn't seamless, and it isn't always seamless on Yomi-chan either. But using these methods, we can semi-automate the process to somewhere near to the same level that we can do on a computer. We can get definitions on the fly. We can create Anki cards quickly and easily without having to build them by hand. We can add Japanese audio to the extent that we want to. The only thing Yomi-chan does here that Tango Bottle can't is to add single word audio, and we can do that by batch processing anyway. It isn't native speaker audio, but it's good enough for our purposes. In manga, of course, we're stuck with typing the words into Tango Bottle, but then that's always the case with manga since the text is part of the illustrations. I hope you find this useful. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have other mobile applications that you find helpful for immersion, I'm not really talking about Japanese learning applications here, I'm talking about immersion support applications. Please put them in the comments below, and I will answer as usual. I'd like to thank my gold Kokeshi patrons, my producer angels who make these videos possible, and all my patrons and supporters on Patreon and everywhere. And I'd like to thank you for attending this lesson. Korekara mo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Class dismissed.